Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back in to another week of Astros Recap PostSeason Edition. Live once again from my bedroom. It is 10:39 p.m., October 6th, 2019. Games 1 and 2 in the ALDS have been wrapped up. Before I actually get into the games, I want to sort of start this podcast basically how I ended the last, talking about our 25-man roster. So, one thing I forgot, when you're constructing a 25-man roster, I feel like there's always one guy that you know is going to make it that you forget about, and I did make that mistake. So, Josh James was the guy I left out. So, definitely he was going to make it, and then once I figured that out, by the way, shout out to Kobe Fryer's coworker who, I asked if he could listen to the end of last week's podcast to see if he agreed or disagreed with my roster, and he actually brought up the fact that I left out Josh James. So, big props to you, my man. But, so if I'm adding in, or of course bringing in Josh James, I'm going to have to exclude somebody, and that would be Hector Rondon, who I've been very critical of a good portion of the year. Pitched a little better in the second half, but still just hard to trust. AJ Hinch finally figured that out after giving him numerous chances in late, tight inning situations. So anyway, that would be the 25-man roster. I just swapped James for Rondon, and then that would be that. So here's where I'm wrong now, because I did not get this completely right. Now, I did get all 14 position players correct, but I messed up here. So, I had I didn't have Wade Miley. This is kind of weird. All right, so if I'm swapping in James for Rondon, like I just said, Rondon actually made the 25-man, and so did Wade Miley. Two people I did not. So, people that I had that I was thinking of this earlier today and it was confusing to me, but anyway, so Wade Miley and Hector Rondon made the 25-man roster. So obviously I had two others to fill those two slots, and that was Chris Davinsky and Brad Peacock, who did not make it. So there you go. That's the best way I can explain it, and I actually think I did a pretty good job there. But anyway, so yes, Miley and Rondon in. People I had, Davinsky and Peacock out. So yes, that's the best way I can explain it. So other than that, the other 23 I had right. Like I said, all 14 position players. But we have played the Tampa Bay Rays as they knocked off the A's pretty easily on Wednesday. I mean, they jumped out to an early lead and led pretty much the rest of the way. So the A's looked terrible. Sean Manaea got the start. He wasn't good. The Rays just came in and beat him down pretty good at the Coliseum there in Oakland. But, yeah, I wanted to play the A's. In fact, I thought the A's would probably win. So I was wrong there. But, the Rays, they had better pitching. So they were going to be the tougher of the two teams. So I wanted to play the A's. But, no harm, no foul. We've won games 1 and 2. It's breaking news to you, so we're off to a good start, of course. Important to win your home games, especially in the playoffs, and considering we have home field throughout, that's a luxury, but we deserved it, of course, winning 107 regular season games. So, I talk about all year, not going game by game, just sort of a week recap, and then for some reason, somehow I start going game by game. I will tell you right now, I am going game by game. There's only 2 games to talk about, so this podcast shouldn't be that long. I did want to start with correcting the 25-man roster and finalizing that for you. So I've done that. I had to wait till Friday. It's weird having 4 off days, watching wild card games and the first set of Division Series games on Thursday. But so we play at 1 o'clock Friday. Tyler Glasnow got the start for the Rays, of course. Justin Verlander for us. Verlander was incredible. It's actually interesting to watch him because if we remember last year, like Verlander was okay in the playoffs, but he wasn't good. Like I remember a couple like 5 2/3 of 2-run baseball, which isn't terrible, but wasn't great. So I was kind of looking for a dominant start, and of course he didn't disappoint. As I look back here, I got to pull back up this game, so excuse me for a few seconds here as I do so. We win at 6-2. Like we put up 4 runs in the 5th inning. Altuve, Glasnow early on was actually matching Verlander pitch for pitch or inning for inning at 4 scoreless innings to start the game. Altuve finally broke through with a two-run home run in the 5th, and there was also a crucial error that led to 2 more runs. It's one of those fly balls into shallow right field off the bat of Gurriel, where you basically split the 3 defenders there. Austin Meadows out in right, Brandon Lowe at second, and Ji-Man Choi all converging out there in right field. Second baseman Lowe calling for it, but he kind of held up, or I don't know if he was scared of a collision, maybe with Meadows. It's in the air, it seems like a while, but he was calling for it, and he sort of held up a little and jabbed at it, trying to catch it at the very last second. Didn't. Dropped, scored 2 runs, which was huge to open up the lead there a little bit. Added 2 more the bottom half of the 7th. Trying to see how they scored those there. So, it was a 2 RBI doubles, one by Alvarez, one by Gurriel. So that made it 6-0. Presley was basically the lone, the big negative, I'd say, in the game, because he got the 8th inning and was not very good as he gave up. Let's see here. He only got 2/3. He only got 2 outs in the inning, but gave up 4 hits, 2 runs. Both of them were earned. Harris had to finish that inning out, and then Osuna had a very nice 1-2-3 ninth to finish that game out. So it was good to get that game 1 win there. Go up 1-0, of course. But game 2 for me was also just as important as game 1, maybe even a little bit more so, just because, if we go into Tampa Bay tied 1-1, I'm not going to feel very good just because we don't play well there. We didn't earlier this year. Granted, things have changed, but I don't know. Something about Tampa Bay. I don't feel necessarily great about our chances. Now, we could go in there, win tomorrow, and sweep this series, of course, but there's just something about going into Tampa Bay that just, I don't know. We'll see. I don't feel great. I will say that. I feel okay. But I'm jumping the gun here. So anyway, game 2, last night. This was a more intense, on the edge of your seat, sort of nerve-wracking game. Garrett Cole was fantastic, incredible. Went 7 2/3, struck out 15, walked 1 hitter. He gave up like 1 or 2 hits. All right, let me backtrack real quick here. Let's go back to game 1 because I wanted to give you Verlander's actual line. I talked about, Presley struggling, giving up those 2 runs. Harris closing out that inning, and Osuna with the nice 1-2-3 ninth. Verlander went 7 innings. He only allowed 1 hit, struck out 8, walked 3. So the only bad part of his line was walking 3, but he only gave up 1 hit. So that's the dominant start I was looking for. And so Cole was just incredible. Blake Snell got the start for the Rays there. And he, again, got off to a pretty good start. 3 scoreless innings for both sides. Cole was just on fire, basically, picking up right where he left off in the regular season. So his quick line here, he went 7 2/3, 4 hits, 15 strikeouts, 1 walk. Gave up a few singles. I think there was a double by Kevin Kiermaier, if I'm not mistaken there. But Cole threw 100 and, I'm trying to look at this right here, 118 pitches. So he was running on fumes towards the end. So they brought in Osuna. Game's 1-0, or might be 2-0 at this point. Bregman got us on the board with a solo home run. Then we scored a run in the bottom half of the 7th on a Martin Maldonado bloop single. But Osuna came in, so AJ was going to get Osuna basically going for a 4-out save. We're up 2, but things are tight, so I don't disagree with the decision. But, Osuna hadn't gotten a 4-out save all year, if that really means anything. I don't really think it does. This is playoff baseball here. But he struck out, the guy he faced. Not sure exactly who it was, but 3 pitches. It was strike, and basically good morning, good afternoon, good night, and then he comes off the mound. Now, the bottom half of the 8th was a rather long half inning. So you have Osuna basically sitting in the dugout knowing he's got to get 3 more outs, but we did score a run to make it 3-0. Correa had an RBI single. And so Osuna comes back out in the 9th, and he's just not good. In fact, see if I can break this down for you here. If I pull up summary here and scroll to the top half of the 9th here, so get that. So, all right. So, yes, they bring in George Springer in right field for Kyle Tucker. Austin Meadows singles to center field, or to right field. Yeah, so Marisnick went into center field. They moved Springer from center to right. That's usually what they'll do late in games to upgrade defensively. You're up 3-0 at this point, so you got some wiggle room, but you still want Osuna to have a nice inning. And he just struck out, to get Cole out of the 8th there. But Meadows singled to start the inning to right. Tommy Pham then singled. Tommy Pham, that is, singled on a ground ball up the middle. At first and second, nobody out. Wild pitch that advanced Austin Meadows to third, but Pham stayed at first. So it was first and third, nobody out. Then G-Man Troy walks, so you get the bases loaded, nobody out. So Osuna obviously struggling. Then Avisail Garcia grounded into a force out, I should say. I think Bregman fielded it at third. Had to make he had to move to his left and throw the ball to second. They get the out there, but not back at first. So scored a run. RBI, fielder's choice, first, third, 1 out. 3-1 is the score now. Brandon Lowe walks. That loads the bases back up. And then this is when you go get him and you bring in Will Harris. And I actually like the move. I mean, Osuna clearly didn't have it in the 9th there. And, I know some managers are going to ride or die with their closer, even when they struggle. At playoffs, you really can't do that. You got to go get him if you see that he's struggling. And he definitely was. So you bring in Will Harris, and he gets a strikeout, key strikeout, and then a ground out to end out in the game there. So very stressful in the 9th inning. Thing with Osuna, people are jumping on him, I feel like. But you have to understand, it's tough to come into the game, getting out as quickly as he did on 3 pitches, go into the dugout, sit down for a good 15-ish minutes, come back out and have that same killer mentality. So I think that played a part, him struggling. And I have no doubt in my mind that A.J. Hinch is going to go back to Osuna if there's a safe situation tomorrow or in any of these games, even if they're tie games, if it's a close game. I'd imagine A.J. is going to use Osuna. And I'm not going to disagree with the decision. So, anyway, good to get both wins. Game 2 wasn't as pretty as Game 1, but it's the playoffs. You get wins. You take wins, I should say, when you get them. Any way you can get them. So, it's nice. Going into, there are teams in Tampa Bay now, St. Petersburg, and they'll play a game tomorrow afternoon at 12. So, that's that. As far as lineups go, it's basically the 1 through 7 you'd expect, and then the 8th and 9 basically the black hole in your lineup, whether it's Chirinos, Maldonado, Kyle Tucker I have more faith in than Josh Reddick. But, the 1 through 7, of course, with Springer, Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel, Correa, and then I think Game 1 it was Chirinos, Reddick, And then Game 2, the first 7, exactly the way I just stated. And it was Kyle Tucker, Martin Maldonado, I believe. So that's about what I'd expect when it came to the lineup. So we'll see if things are changed tomorrow. I wouldn't imagine they are. We just had a day off today. So kind of weird talking to you when we've had an off day, but you never have off day Sunday, and we did. That's how the playoffs is. Every time you travel to a different city, you have the off day. So anyway, as far as other series go, Atlanta leads St. Louis 2-1. They actually lost Game 1, and then they won Games 2 and 3, of course. They had a big ninth inning today to actually come back and win that. So they're in the driver's seat there. They have one more game in St. Louis. That'll probably go 5 games the way I see things now. I can't see St. Louis losing an elimination game in their ballpark. So I would say the Braves probably win that series. The Dodgers just beat the Nationals, so they're now up 2-1. As the Dodgers won Game 1, Nationals came back, won Game 2, and Dodgers just won in Nationals Park. So 2-1 series there, and then the Yankees are 2-0 up on the Twins. So sort of your recap there. Yes, the Nationals did win their wild card game against the Brewers, and obviously the Rays beat the A's. So that's how things sort of line up. This podcast is going to be long, only 2 games to talk about, but we'll have the tomorrow's afternoon game. If they can, pull it out, I'll probably talk to you to set things up. We'll talk about Game 3 and sort of set up the ALCS. If not, I'll probably talk to you again. It's most likely, I would say, not most likely. This is when I'll talk to you next. So it's going to be on, Wednesday, which would be their next off day if they play games 3 and 4. So I'll either be talking about an ALCS and sort of getting that set for you, or I'll be talking about Game 5. Hopefully the first thing I said. But, yes. So, I'm only up 17 and a half minutes, so I'll sort of wrap things up there. Astros off to a good start. Hopefully Greinke can pitch well. He does concern me a little bit. Charlie Morton for Tampa Bay, probably their best, most consistent, healthiest, I should say, pitcher is Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, both dealing with, they hadn't pitched a whole lot of the season. They've both been in and out, and they, had limits on their pitch count. But we'll see how things go. Hopefully we can, scrap a few runs off Uncle Charlie, old friend there, and hopefully Greinke can get us some quality innings and we can wrap things up and get some rest and probably await the Yankees most likely, but we'll see. So I will be at work tomorrow. I have to show up at 9. 10 o'clock tour. These are clubhouse tours. I've never actually done this before, but I'll be there throughout the entirety of the game, or the entire game. So I don't know how that's actually going to work out, whether I'll be able to watch some of it, all of it, most of it. I have no idea. So hopefully, it'd be cool to watch the game, I guess, live at Minute Maid Park on El Grande out there, but I'll definitely be glued to staying on the field for the game if that so happens to be the case. So, yes. But I will talk to you Wednesday for sure, so that's what I'm planning on. So, yeah, I'll wrap things up there. We're coming up close, 19, 20 minutes. But, again, do all that good stuff on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Comment section right below. Love to hear your thoughts on things, how they're going. Feedback, criticism, whatever you want to call it, go for it. I'm all ears. I don't take things too personal, so just leave comments below, whether they're good or bad. So, in fact, I sort of like controversy. So, if you think I'm screwed up, or I screwed up, hopefully I'm not a screw up, but if I screwed up saying anything or misspoke, please let me know about it. But again, do all that good stuff on YouTube. And again, yes, I will talk to you Wednesday. So I'll wrap things up there, and we'll see you then.